Hello, welcome back to Weekly Wildlife Wisdom. As always, I am your host, Zero Yeti. Let's go ahead and get right into it. With the first animal on the group of the list is the Atlantic Goliath grouper, or the Itajara. It is a large saltwater fish of the grouper family, found primarily in shallow tropical waterways along coral and artificial reefs, ranging around depths from anywhere from 10 to around 150 feet. On the western side, its range includes the Florida Keys in the U.S., the Bahamas, most of the Caribbean, and most of the Brazilian coasts. On some occasions, it can be found as far north as the coasts of Maine and Massachusetts. Massachusetts. I don't know how to pronounce that. Massachusetts. Whatever. In the eastern Atlantic Ocean, it occurs on the coasts of Congo and Senegal. Young Atlantic Goliath groupers may live in brackish estuaries, oyster beds, canals, mangrove swamps, and tide pools, where they often act as nurseries for these young juvenile fish. With adults reaching lengths of 8 feet and weights upwards of 700 pounds, they are considered to be one of the largest bony fish alive today. Goliath grouper are opportunistic predators that feed mostly on slow-moving, bottom-associated species, with calico crabs making up the majority of their diet. Goliath groupers are protogynous hermaphrodites, which refer to organisms that are born female that at some point in their lives become male by changing their sex. They are considered fine food quality, and the Atlantic grouper were a highly sought after quarry for fishermen. Because of its relatively inquisitive and generally fearless nature, they were considered easy prey for spear fishermen. They also tend to spawn in large aggregations, returning annually to the same locations. This makes them particularly vulnerable to mass harvesting while breeding. Until a harvesting ban was placed in the 1990s, the grouper population was in rapid decline, and although the species population has been recovering since the ban, due to the fish's slow growth rate, some time will be needed for the population to return to their previous levels, and for now they are still classified as highly endangered species. Next up is the Alonautilus scrobenlacatus, or Scrobicolatus, also known as the crusty nautilus or the fuzzy nautilus. It is a species of nautilus native to the waters around New Guinea, specifically New Britain, Milne Bay, and the Solomon Islands, where they dwell in undersea canyons between 500 and 1,300 feet in depth. A Scrobenculatus is instantly recognizable by its large open umbilicus, which is the hollow cone shape spaced within the whorls of the shell. And these are pretty large in A. scrobenculatus, with around them making up to 20% of the total shell diameter. This species, along with the closely related A. performatus, were originally placed in the genus Nautilus, but have recently been given their own genus on account of their significant morphological differences. The most obvious are features of the shell, including the crease and the encrusting layer, which gives it the name the fuzzy nautilus or the crusty nautilus. This encrusting layer is called the peroscrocum, or the shell skin, and it covers most of the shell with the exception of the head. The shaggy peroscrocum common is present on freshly caught individuals and is thickly interlayered, resembling kind of like slimy hair. The gills and reproductive structures of A. scrobenculatus also differ significantly from members of the genus Nautilus. And the shell is usually up to around 9 inches in diameter, although the largest specimens ever recorded were around 12 inches. The species dates back roughly 500 million years in the fossil record, and for decades has impressed biologists and researchers with its evolutionary grit, being able to survive several million years unchanged. A. scrobenculatus is considered by many to be a living fossil, similar to coelacanths and horseshoe crabs, even though it was thought to have gone extinct in 1986. A. scrobenculatus was rediscovered in July 2015 by biologist Peter Ward and geologist Bruce Saunders. Next up is the common merganser, or the goosander, as it's also known, is a large sea duck native to the forested rivers and lakes throughout Europe, Asia, and North America. Mergansers are large, long-bodied ducks with thin, pointed wings, typically weighing between 2 and 4 pounds. They have a sport wingspan of up to 33 inches in length. Their bills are straight and narrow, unlike the wide, flat bills of a typical duck. Adult males are crisply patterned, with gleaming white bodies and dark iridescent green heads for most of the year. The back is black and the bill is red. Females and juveniles are gray-bodied with a white chest and rusty cinnamon heads, sporting shaggy crests on the back of the neck and head. From late summer to mid-autumn, males wearing a non-breeding plumage that looks very similar to female plumage. Like other mergansers, these are piscivorous ducks. They have serrated edges on their bills to help them catch their prey, which gives them the nickname sawbills. In addition to diving to hunt fish, they also hunt a wide variety of other aquatic prey, including mollusks, crustaceans, worms, insect larvae, amphibians, and rarely small mammals and birds. They typically live in small groups where they can be seen fishing together in tandem by forming semicircles and then driving the fish into shallow water, where they are then captured easily. Their ordinary voice is a low, harsh croak, but during the breeding season, they make a plaintive, soft whistle. Generally, mergansers are wary birds, with one or more individuals always taking up sentry duty to warn the flock of approaching danger. They breed during the summer, laying typically between 8 and 12 eggs, normally nesting in tree cavities, and as such they require a mature forest as a breeding habitat, although they also readily use large nesting boxes when provided. In places devoid of trees like the Central Asian mountains, they have been seen utilizing holes in cliff sides. Common mergansers are known to form creches, which is a trait amongst birds where a bunch of females will come together and raise their young communally, with individual females being observed taking care of over 70 ducklings at a single time. Number 4 on the list is the wolverine, also referred to as the gulu gulu, the glutton, the carcajon, the skunk bear, or the quickhatch, and it is the largest land-dwelling species of the family Mustelae and the largest Mustelae outside of the otter family. It is a stocky and muscular carnivore, more closely resembling a small bear than other mustelids. Wolverines average in weight between 30 and 70 pounds and measure anywhere from 2 to 3 feet in length. Their legs are short and somewhat bowed. Their feet sport semi-retractable claws. They have short ears and strong teeth. They have a coarse, long-haired coat with blackish brown and light in color, with a light brown stripe extending from each side of the neck along the body to the base of the tail. Wolverine also sport anal glands that secrete an unpleasant-smelling liquid, much like their skunk relatives. Wolverines are native to the remote reaches of northern boreal forests and subarctic and alpine tundra throughout the northern hemisphere, with the greatest concentrations of their population being in northern Canada, Alaska, the mainland Nordic countries, and western Russia. The wolverine is a powerful and versatile predator, hunting animals from as small as moles to as large as moose. But despite its skill at killing, wolverines prefer to scavenge, even going as far as to scare bears, wolves, lynxes, and tigers off their own kills. It is possibly because of this kill-stealing behavior that some other predators, particularly wolves, systematically kill wolverines when they get the chance. Due to centuries of trapping, range reduction, and habitat fragmentation, wolverines' global population has been steadily declining, and due to this, the wolverine is now essentially absent from most of its southern range. Next up is the crested porcupine, also known as the African crested porcupine, which is a species of rodent in the family Hystricidae and is found throughout Italy, North Africa, and sub-Saharan Africa. At between 2 and 3 feet in length and weighing upwards of 50 pounds, the African crested porcupine is the largest porcupine in the world. They typically dwell in hilly, rocky, dry forests, and they are somewhat sociable animals, living in small family groups, spending their days sleeping in elaborate burrows, before emerging at night to forage for roots, tubers, bulbs, leaves, insects, and carrion. Curiously, these porcupines enjoy collecting and chewing on bones, often decorating their burrows with dozens if not hundreds of bones from various animals, including the occasional human remains. When they are confronted by a predator, the African crested porcupine raises its 12 to 13-inch long quills along its head and back into a crest so that its body appears larger and more threatening. If this strategy doesn't chase off the predator, the porcupine will stamp its feet, flick its teeth, and rattle its hollow-tipped tail of quills. If this fails, it will then run backward, ramming into the attacker with its short, thick quills on its backside. The tips of its quills lodge in the enemy's skin, and the resulting wounds can disable or even kill a predator, with crested porcupines having been known to injure and kill lions, monitor lizards, wild dogs, leopards, hyenas, and even humans. Next up is the rhinoceros iguana, which is an endangered species of iguana that is primarily found on the Caribbean island of Hispaniola, which houses the countries of Haiti and the Dominican Republic. The largest member of the genus Cyclura, they vary in length between 2 and 5 feet and weigh around 10 to 20 pounds. These iguanas are characterized by their growth of bony, prominent tubercles on their snouts which resemble a rhino's horn. Males also possess an adipose pad in the form of a helmet on their occipital region of the head and a large dewlap. This species, like other species of iguana, is sexually dimorphic. Males are larger than females and have more prominent dorsal crest and horns, in addition to large femoral pores in their thighs, which they use to release pheromones. In general, iguanas are found abundantly in scrub woodland, dry forests, characterized by rocky habitats of eroded limestone. They also can be found in coastal terraces and lowlands of the mainland and several offshore islands, where they inhabit a variety of subtropical wildlife zones and habitat types, typically consuming leaves, flowers, berries, cacti, and fruits from different plant species. Although they are well represented in captivity, rhino iguanas remain in danger in the wild, with their only stable, sizable populations being found on Isla Beta and the extreme of the Barhonan Peninsula inside of Parque Nicolai Huaraga. Parque Nacional Aguara. Anyway, the extinct animal of the week is the Paraceratherium. I've had to memorize this in order to pronounce it right. Paraceratherium is an extinct species of hornless rhinoceros. It is one of the largest terrestrial mammals that has ever existed, and it lived from early to late Oligocene epoch, roughly 34 to 23 million years ago. Its remains have been found throughout Eurasia between China, India, Romania, and the Balkans. The exact size of Paraceratherium is unknown because of the incompleteness of the fossils we have found. However, it is estimated that they stood 16 feet tall at the shoulder, measure around 25 feet in length, and weighed a whopping between 15 and 20 tons in weight. Paraceratherium was so gigantic it likely reached the largest a land mammal could get due to the structural constraints that a mammalian body imposes. Their legs were long and pillar-like to support such a massive bulk. They had a long giraffe-like neck that held up a 4-foot-long skull that supported tusk-like incisors and a nostril incision that suggested it had a relatively prehensile upper lip, much like modern black rhinoceroses. The lifestyle of Paraceratherium may have been similar to that of modern large animals, such as elephants, giraffes, and extant rhinoceroses, but because of its size, it would have had even fewer predators and even a slower rate of reproduction. Although some specimens do show evidence of attacks by the 30-foot-long Crocodylus bogentinus, which was a massive extinct crocodile. Paraceratherium was a browser, eating mainly leaves, soft plants, and shrubs. It lived in habitats ranging from arid deserts with a few scattered trees to subtropical forests and often traveling long distances with the changing of the season to keep up with its food supply. The reason for this animal's extinction is unknown, but various factors have been proposed, including climate change, the low reproduction rate, and invasion by Gomphothere proboscideans and large carnivores from late Oligocene Africa. As always, take care to my guys, gals, and non-binary pals.